What's up, everybody? Welcome to DigiCalise, my second channel where I talk about the Digimon card game. If any of you want to get to know me a little more personally, or maybe give your brain a little bit of a workout, something to think about, you can head on over to my first channel, linked in the description below. Over the last handful of weeks, I've been making a mental shift in the Digimon card game. I'm moving towards a more competitive kind of mindset. I'm taking my deck building a little more seriously. I've been going and looking at deck lists and paying attention to tournament results, and over the last couple locals I've gone to, I've really actually gave a real effort to try and win. And at this point, I'm even considering getting certified to be a judge for the game. I think that would help increase my knowledge of it, but also keep me engaged with it a little bit more. So with this shift to a more competitive mentality, it's also kind of shifted the way I've been looking at my own decks that I like to play so much, right? Everybody knows at this point, if you've seen the first video, that I am a Glowing Dawn main right now. But before that, my heart belonged to Jupitermon. And I'll be honest, it still does. I love the deck. It does everything I personally enjoy about the Digimon card game. Like Jupitermon, very strong card, super cool, skirts around the rules just enough. He's got a level of protection on him that's really cool. And the best part, he comes from our happy little satyr boy. So I looked at my own list and I kind of started to think about things that I didn't like about Jupitermon. And then I started looking at other people's lists, and I noticed something that was kind of similar among all of them. No, I'm not talking about Flashbang, Blinding Ray, right? That's always going to be in the list. It just plays too well with the deck. I noticed a distinct lack of Temple of Beginnings option card. And now that I'm thinking about my deck a little more seriously and trying to be a little more competitive, and thinking about the things that I don't like about my deck, the thing that stands out to me at the very first notice is that I'm taking my own health away to get a lot of my effects to go off. You might even say that's probably the biggest, if not the only weakness that the Jupitermon deck has. And with a card like Temple of Beginnings, for 2 memory, you can set up a recovery later and get your health back up during the course of your combo, or even on your opponent's turn. And if they don't math out how many attacks they need to get in to actually beat you, and don't factor in something like a Temple of Beginnings. See, because I've been looking at all these lists lately, I've noticed a very common trend among all of the other TS lists is that they love their field cards. I like to call them place cards. If you're running the bear deck, you're absolutely going to be on at least 3 or 4 copies of Paradise Coliseum. Say you like the Sarismon Bacchusmon deck, you're for sure going to run Gear Forest. TS Angel, you bet you can splash in a copy of the Guardian Palace. Here I'm just going to cut in Volcanismon. I love that deck, it's sick. I'm a machinist by trade, so the metalworking guy making all the weapons, right up my alley, and it does like a wild option style security control type deal. I really love that, but it's got some teeth, man. And in all those lists, you know what you're gonna find: Factorial Area. TS Grace Nova, they're running Cosmic Area. And back in BT24, when we first started all this Time Stranger stuff, and even clear up to now, when you just get your Time Stranger toolbox, you're always going to see Central Town and Abyss Sanctuary. So why, oh why, does nobody play the place card for the Satyr Boy? I just don't get it. It's 1 memory cheaper. It solves the problem the deck has, which is I am going to commit seppuku to evolve for cheap and get some extra effects. So why doesn't anyone play it? If it gets hit out of security, it's going to play you a body, just like any of the other place cards. And it's got an all-turns effect that lets you actually just recover 1 when your opponent decides they want to swing in an attack, or trash something off with a bind red trigger. See, that's the thing. I've been hip to the idea that you can play on your opponent's turn with Jupitermon. A lot of people are just now coming around to this, and I'm like, dude, figured that out in BT24. Inori Misono is the heart and soul of the deck because of that all-turns effect to let you Digivolve for free into an Agiokusmon. Having decode around the deck, make sure that you've got a way to play out an Agiomon, and then get a security off, and get a free evolution. The thing is, you can use Temple offensively and defensively, and that sounds strange when it's just recovering you a card in the middle of something, right? It sounds mostly defensive, but if you're swinging out with it, you can take cards off the top of your stack and Digivolve into something else The fun thing to do is digivolve into another Jupitermon. I don't know if we figured that one out yet either. So I wanted to put my 2 cents in on this one. I want to throw it out there and I want to get people's brains moving on this because I genuinely think Jupitermon is basically the deck right now. We just got to crack it a little bit better. We got to get moving on a little bit faster, and we got to have ways to solve the problems the deck has. And the only problem that I find with it is that it's got a death penalty on everything you do. Temple of Beginnings basically gives you a draw for 2, and it lets you set up a recovery later. There's no downside to it. It comes out of security, you get an Agiomon or an Elecmon. Say you're not drawing well, you get an Elecmon out of security off of an early check. All of a sudden you're searching and you might just be back in the game. So this is my propaganda piece. We're doing a little bit of Temple talk. I think you guys should consider Temple of Beginnings. I've been playing around with it. My last locals I went to, we were playing some casual games in between rounds and it was flowing like butter and it felt really good. There has not been a game yet since I started running Temple of Beginnings that I didn't like having it in the deck. It never feels bad in hand. It really doesn't ever feel bad in hand. I mean, except for the obvious, like there's 3 of them in your hand, that would suck nuts, but that's any card really. So yeah, that's my Temple talk with you guys. I want you to consider it. We got all these really strong place cards for all the other Olympos decks. I think we should probably consider using the place card that's made for Jupitermon. It kinda just makes sense and it solves our problems. If you want to stick around, I'm going to get into my deck profile for what I'm running in Jupitermon right now. I'm going to be taking it with me to locals this week and actually just playing it instead of playing Glowing Dawn and doing little casual games with Jupiter on the side.
Hey y'all, it's Future DigiKalise here doing my own little Time Stranger thing. I did take Jupiter with me to locals this week, but we had a very small turnout. We're in a little bit of a heat wave right now, so didn't really have too many people come, but what I did play felt really good, and I'm still really happy with the deck, and Temple still feels dope.
This is my homie. I love the little satyr. I think he's really cool. Jupitermon's sick. We got more support coming, so I'm only excited for that to come too, and it's only going to get stronger. Anyways, if you want to stick around, feel free. If not, I hope to see you guys in the next one. And if I don't, hey, that's cool. Maybe I'll see you over at the first channel. In the meanwhile, you guys be safe, take it easy, and have fun. We'll see y'all. Alright folks, we are going to go over my Jupitermon deck list. It's updated, ready to rock and roll, and it's got that Temple of Beginnings in it. Let's get into it. First, we're going to get into our eggs. We're on 4 copies of Sunomon from BT24. Your turn, once per turn. When your security stack is removed from, this Digimon may digivolve into a Shaman trait Digimon card in the hand with the Digivolution cost reduced by 1. Turns out, reducing your Digivolution costs is pretty strong. A lot of people like Nyaromon. I'm playing the deck assuming Nyaromon's going to get limited, just going to keep it a buck with you guys. And besides that, you can go into any of your Shaman Olympos cards for 1 cost less. If you're trying to end turn and you don't see Jupitermon, it might actually just be worth it. With Decode underneath, you could still get an Agiomon out and keep playing the game. Now we're going to get on to our level 3s, our rookie levels. We are on 4 copies BT24 Elecmon. We're on 4 copies BT25 Elecmon. We're on 2 copies BT25 Lunamon. These guys are both fantastic searchers. They literally have the same search effect. The jamming inheritable's cool, but I'm going to be honest with you, you don't want it. There's a lot of times where you'd much rather actually die and need a barrier. This inheritable is much stronger. You can attack, add your own security to your hand, and recover 1 if you're at 0. But adding your security to hand is what you're actually after. And that's why I love this new Elecmon. He's so good for the deck. Putting him in raising, especially if he's your opening rookie, you want to see him. Start a main phase, you add your top security and gain a memory, and it just sparks off a whole combo. You really do want to nuke yourself down to like 3 as fast as possible. And honestly, if you can nuke yourself down to 2, it opens up a whole new world of combos. The cheaper you can get into Jupitermon, the better. And he's got the same inheritable down there to let you add a security card to your hand, and if you have 0, recover 1 when you attack. Now we're going to get on to our level 4s, our champion levels. We've got ourselves 4 copies BT24 Agiomon, 4 copies BT25 Agiomon. They both have fantastic abilities to let you pull a top security to hand, and like I said, that's what we want to be doing. They both have barrier on face. This guy, very strong when moving timing, being able to just take a top security to hand before start a main. You get a tamer out that has a start a main effect, and you can still get that effect when you start your main phase. Both of them having an on-play effect means that if they get spit out from Decode, or triggered off of a Temple of Beginnings and Security, you get to activate their effects, and it could allow a little bit of counterplay on your opponent's turn. All of a sudden, you're taking a security card and getting a free Digivolution off of an untapped Inori Misono. This guy, we all know and love at this point. He lets you take your top security to hand, and then you get to play a Tamer as long as it doesn't have the same name as another Tamer on the field for your side. This dude lets you minus 5k something, which is awesome. It lets you clear off smaller bodies when he comes out, again, off of a Temple or a Decode. Or maybe you just hard play him to pass turn, you never know. Sometimes you're just not having a good game. Might be something you do, and you never know, it might help. That's all we're running for level 4s. 8 is a little light, but we have a lot of search in the deck, and it's a very consistent deck. So having 8 isn't that big of a deal. We're gonna go on to our level 5s now, our ultimates. And before I get into it, this is one thing where I'm gonna say now you have a lot of options, and you can toolbox this. No two lists are really all the same when it comes to the level 5s these days. I'm finding there's a lot of utility to be had now, and a lot of nasty combos. I'm on 4 copies of BT25 Agio Kusman Blue, 2 copies BT25 Agio Kusman Green, and 2 copies Promo Agio Kusman number 213. So, I'm going to explain this and rationalize this to you guys. 4 copies of Blue. First off, it has D-Digivolve printed on it, so that already warrants a 4 of spot in the deck. It's incredible. Being able to D-Digivolve things is very strong. It's the strongest soft removal we have in the game. It has Blocker on face and Decode on face. And if you're playing with Temple of Beginnings, not having Decode as an inheritable doesn't hurt so much. It's just going to be native on the body that you leave behind. What we really love is the ability to unsuspend if you have 3 or fewer security cards, and this all turns once per turn. When your security stack is removed from, one of your Shaman trait Digimon may unsuspend, which means it doesn't even have to be your live stack. Let's talk about Agio Kusman Green. I've got some thoughts on him, and I think that's another one that kind of snuck its way in for propaganda here. Tamer control is very, very strong, especially in this format. There are a lot of very Tamer heavy decks. Something like Agio Kusman Green can turn off an Asuna, it can turn off a Tomoro, it can turn off any Tamer on the field. If it's a problem, suspend it, lock it down, don't let it stand. Moreover, this guy gets pretty big. If you got 3 or fewer security cards, he gains piercing and 5k, and having Vortex on face means that even if he just came out and doesn't technically have rush, he can swing into your opponent's Digimon. The all turns once per turn I don't necessarily care about, but it does come up. When your security stack's removed from, you can suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. And again, that's one of those things where if they don't calculate something like that in, with a Temple of Beginnings in play, they might have thought 3 swings to game, and all of a sudden it turned into, I lost a swing and they recovered one. And that gulf between them and game got so much wider. Agio Kusman, flat red, the promo, I'm on 2 of them. It's got rush. That's the biggest thing about it, is that if you have 3 or fewer, he gains rush. You can just end game with this guy, right? He's allowed to attack. You don't even need Dan Kanan out for it. You can just swing. It's built into him. And he does have this Decode inheritable, which does not feel bad in a stack. All of them have Decode on face, which is great. And when you're playing with Temple of Beginnings, the idea is that you're gonna be going up your line and sticking something like a Jupitermon in there. He's big, so a small body will absolutely die to it, and that might even commit your opponent to a bigger body swing first. Moreover, having Decode on face means you're able to keep playing the game if your opponent does try to answer you in some meaningful way. So now we'll get into the 6s. And this is another spot where a lot of people get toolboxy, right? I kind of keep it simple here, but I do like having the flexibility to range with my opponent and kind of be a little more controlling. We're on 4 copies BT24 Jupitermon, 2 copies BT25 Dianamon, 2 copies BT24 Venusmon. I don't think I need to explain this one. Jupitermon being at 4 is just kind of a given. It is the Jupitermon deck. He plays with all the Agio Kusman cards very well, and being able to go into him for cheap after you just took all your own security off is awesome, especially if you're playing Temple of Beginnings. Dianamon, this is a very, very strong card. Having an all turns kind of floodgatey style effect to make your opponent think. It might change the way they're playing, they might not notice it, they might forget about it, all of a sudden they lost the game. Dianamon's very strong, and she can come out pretty easily, and you could always Digivolve into her if the going's really tough. she's not a terrible one to go into. Venusmon is still here, and I'm not getting rid of her. She plays too well with the deck. Being centered around your own security cards means it's very easy to get Venusmon live. And the ability to stop digivolving effects and stop suspension on a couple things, including tamers, it's just really good. More tamer interaction, the better right now. Plus, she's got her own form of protection, and it's not just for her, it's for everybody, same as Jupitermon. She could protect anything. I don't think I need to rationalize these too much more. I think y'all be with me on this one at a bare minimum. We're getting pretty close to the end of the deck here. We're going to hit our tamers and options next, starting with our tamers. We are on 4 copies of BT24 Inori Misono, 3 copies of BT24 Hiroko Sagisaka, 2 copies of BT24 Asuna Shiroki, and 2 copies of BT24 Homeros. 4 copies of Inori, I don't think I really need to explain, but I'm going to anyways. She does what you want for the deck. Free evolutions when you remove your security, and that's all turns, which means if your opponent's not thinking about it, and more than one of those are out on the field, they might just get sniped by some Agio Kusman effects. You might de-digivolve them. You might suspend something. You might just throw them off. Obviously, the ability to gain memory start a main phase is strong too, especially when you couple that with the when moving effect on Agiomon. Hiroko is a very good search card for us, but more to the point, she lets us get bodies out for free if our opponent doesn't pass us enough memory. And it turns out, it's pretty hard to give your opponent 5 memory when you really want to. Sometimes you just cannot find a way, and turning that hoe off is not possible. Same deal with Asuna, she lets you trash stuff and draw 2 cards instead of searching. A little bit of trash recursion comes up though, because you can actually play your TS trait cards out of trash, which is pretty cool. Homeros, I was on 3 copies of her. I went down to 2. It's felt really good coming down to 2. I've played on 2 a couple times, went back to 3, went back to 2. I keep coming back to 2. It just feels better. She kind of makes your brain double take what you want to do sometimes, just because you know she's strong and you know it's something else for your opponent to play around. But like, man, sometimes the deck just wants to do what the deck wants to do and not what Homeros wants to do. And finally, to finish things off, we're going to go over our option cards. I am on 3 copies BT24 Temple of Beginnings, 1 copy BT24 In Between Theater, and 1 copy of Blinding Ray from, oh gosh, when? BT4. Man, that's an oldie. Temple of Beginnings, it's 2 cost. You add your top security card to hand and recover 1 deck. It's not by adding your top security card. They're 2 separate things. So you add your top security card, and even if you don't have one, the text after says, and recover 1. So if you're at 0 for 2 cost, you get to recover. If you are at full health for 2 cost, you get to draw your top security card and basically take a free setup for later. Security effect, very powerful. You can play an Agiomon or a Lekmon from hand or trash without paying the cost. Anything coming out of hand or trash is very strong, and there's no 2 ways around that. But what we really love is this all turns. When your security stack is removed from delay, you may place the top stack card of any of your Digimon with Agio Kusman or Jupitermon in their names as the top security card. So out of nowhere, you get to recover 1. And if you're using it in an offensive manner, you can actually elect to trash your own security cards, aka evolve into Jupitermon and trash 1, and then you can trigger Temple of Beginnings to put that Jupitermon on top of your security and evolve into something else. Or just stay on an Agio Kusman and try to get a little bit more board presence on another body somewhere. There's a lot of versatility. The fact that it's all turns means that if your opponent's not thinking about it, if they fall asleep at the wheel, you might just pop a body up into security, and all of a sudden you're free evolving into Agio Kusman with Inori. They don't know. If they're not thinking about it, it's gonna hit them out of nowhere. In Between Theater, mandatory, at least 1 extra search card, plus we like having extra memory. I feel kind of bad not having it. Sometimes I wish I had more copies, but I think I'm going to stick with this right now because it has felt very good. There's a lot of other ways to search in the deck, and memory isn't necessarily a concern that often. Blinding Ray is obvious. It's one of the Infinity Stones, and that's for a reason. It's limited to 1 for good reason, and especially for decks like this. It's just too good. It's like a custom card for Jupitermon. Trash your top security, gain 2 memory, and you don't even have to have a security card in order to gain the 2 memory. It's whack. The fact that it's still at 1 is insane. The fact that it's not at 0 is insane. But because it's at 1, I'm gonna play that 1 copy. There's no reason not to, and if you don't, you're probably throwing. So yeah, that's the deck profile. That's how I'm playing Jupiter these days. Every game I've played since I made my changes to the list has felt incredibly smooth. I don't ever have a game going like, oh man, this is not good. Like, a lot of the time the cards just play really well together and you're not having a whole lot of issues. And Temple of Beginnings helps facilitate that a lot. Having that guy on deck really does do a lot for you. Jupitermon's very strong, Agiomon's very strong, and Inori makes the whole deck tick. If you're not running her at 4 copies, you're probably throwing. If you're not running at least 3 copies of Jupitermon, you're throwing. You absolutely need to have a couple copies of Temple of Beginnings. I'm starting to come around to it. I wanted to be the first one to put my word out there and put my stamp on it, because I think genuinely once more people start playing with this, they're going to get the idea. They're going to see the light, as it were. So yeah, that's it for this deck profile. I don't know really where I'm going to go with the next one, if I'm going to actually do a deck profile for the next video. We're probably going to be doing a little bit of theory crafting around Chaosmon, but we'll see. Anyways, until we get back around to that next video, we'll see you guys.